Welcome to the first class of our 6-week entrepreneurship class on how to start a new venture. I'm Marc Kramer, Senior Lecturer of Entrepreneurship at VinUnivesity, and I'm so excited to work with all of you. This is the second year I was running this class. I do it for free because I think it's important in Vietnam for high school students to start looking at entrepreneurship as either a full-time or part-time way of creating and controlling their professional and financial future. I think it's important to the country that we create our own products and services that we sell to other countries, not just manufacture other people's products. I see that Singapore, 5% the size of Vietnam, has 34 unicorn companies. That's 34 startups that are worth $1 billion. Israel, 10% the size of Vietnam, has 150 unicorn companies. And I know our young people are as smart as anybody else's in the world. And I think we just need to start earlier, encouraging you to learn about entrepreneurship and business. Even if you don't start your own business, you will learn a lot about business by taking this 6-week course. And we hope all of you will be applying to our second annual high school entrepreneurship competition, which last year we had 131 companies, and we're hoping to at least double that number this coming year. So again, I'm excited to have all of you. So just to give you my background, I teach entrepreneurship, management, and innovation at VinUnivesity. I have been at VinUnivesity almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in March. I have to say I fell in love with your country, that so much so that I don't want to go back to the United States. I'd like to stay here permanently and just go back and visit my daughters who live in Los Angeles and my mom who lives in Philadelphia and all my friends back there, because you live in an amazing country and you're living at the right time, because Vietnam is going to be the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia, and it's going to be one of the star economic countries in the world. I've launched over 30 ventures. I've raised over $3.2 billion, actually more than that, because only one of my ventures I raised 3.2 billion, another venture 150 million, some others a few $1,000,000. I've written 6 books and I've won 2 awards for those books. I host 2 podcasts, one called Asian Founders and Funders, and I'll send you all the link for that. And the other one's called The Best Business Minds, that won a combined 11 international awards. You'll really enjoy Asian Founders and Funders because I interview mostly entrepreneurs in Vietnam who tell their story about how they get started. And one of the best stories actually comes from VinUnivesity, from two students who founded a company called MindPal. That is an AI-based company that helps people reduce the amount of work that they have to do using AI, makes them more efficient. They have 45,000 customers around the world, and they've only been doing this 2.5 years. There's only 20,000 millionaires in Vietnam. They are one of the 20,000 millionaires, and they are cash millionaires. And if you include the value of their company, they're 2 of the richest people in the country. So very, very impressive. So our 6-week program is going to start with, how do you identify a problem or opportunity that you want to go after? And we're going to talk about, how do you validate facts to practice finding and validating whether those problems actually exist, and if somebody is willing to pay to solve those problems. The most important thing that you need to learn is that you could come up with what you think is a great idea, but if somebody is not willing to pay for your idea, then it's not going to work out. I've started many ventures, and I started one a couple years ago, I guess 4 years ago, called Funding Organizer. It's a common application for bank loan officers to use to collect information for people who want a loan. And I worked with 10 loan officers to develop it. And when I went to sell to the banks, nobody wanted to use it. They didn't even want to test it out, even though I worked with 10 loan officers from 10 different banks who all said this would be an amazing thing to have. But their chief lending officer and CEOs of the bank, they didn't see the value. They didn't want to go and use my product. So even though I thought I created something that was wanted and needed, until you can get people who say, yes, I'd be willing to pay for that once I try it out, then you've got to move on for something else. We want to learn, we want you to learn, we want you to inspire you to try your ideas. You are an age where you can fail. You can't worry about failure. All you should be worried about at this stage is learning and how to keep improving yourself. When you get to be over 30 and you are married and you have a wife and children, you have a husband and children, then you have a little bit more concern because you have a lot more at risk that you have to have family to take care of. You already have financial obligations like a mortgage or whatever that is. But right now is the perfect time to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. So it puts you in a position to either have a successful venture of your own or to move up the corporate ladder if you decide you want to work for someone. And you can also become an entrepreneur, meaning you could work for a big company like Vin Group and start something for them. So how do we define a problem or an opportunity? And there is a difference. A problem is a challenge or unmet need that causes inconvenience or inefficiency. People are willing to pay to have some kind of problem solved. An opportunity could be that, for instance, I'm an American and I wish there were American sports bars here to go to hang out with other Americans and watch American sports. And there are over 150,000 Americans living in Vietnam. So there's clearly an opportunity to start a sports bar. If a sports bar isn't started, it's not going to end the world. It's no one is waking up every day saying, "Oh my God, I need a sports bar." But people are waking up every day saying they need different things. Like, for instance, they need somebody to walk their dog because nobody is home to walk the dog. That's a problem that needs solving. Your kids, you have some of you might struggle with English, you might struggle with math. Your parents want to solve that problem by hiring a tutor. That's a problem people are willing to pay for and have it solved. I'm a diabetic. If there was a way for me to eat a variety of different types of candy without worrying about my sugar going up and it hurting my overall health, then I would love to be able to find that product. If somebody started a diabetic candy company, well, that's a problem because for diabetics, we all crave sugar. We want to go and eat candy. So I would love to see that particular thing solved. Does somebody need an opportunity? Could be that we create a racetrack for people to race cars because we hear a lot of people are in love with cars and they would love to do it. Do we absolutely need it? No. But there's a chance that people would want to go there and be in a race car and drive it. And there might be an opportunity to create a racetrack competition. So that's an opportunity that we might go after. Why solving problems matter? Innovation is driven by solving problems. Why does AI exist? Because people want to become more efficient. Companies want to reduce their headcount so they can have more profitability. Or they want to go and free their people up from general administrative tasks to doing things where they're doing critical thinking and trying to solve problems, trying to come up with new products and services. So innovation is a big driver. As I mentioned, I'm a diabetic. People are trying to develop diabetic sports watches. So at any given time, I can look at my wrist and see what my blood sugar might be. So an absolute need by diabetics. So there are a variety of things that drive innovation. Certainly, back over 100 years ago, everybody worked in a major city. But if you were able to get a car and cars started being built at the beginning of the 1900s, that means that towns could be started, factories could be built outside the city because people could actually drive to them. So that's why the car got started. It was to open up America and then the rest of the world. But it was really to take advantage of all the land that we had and be able to stop the crowding of the cities and open up things into the suburbs. Positive impact. Solving problems can improve lives, it can create jobs, it drives change. There have been all kinds of cool things that have been solved, and some of them you experienced all the time. So if you go to the airport, what do you carry with you? A rolling suitcase. When I was your age, people carried suitcases. We also, when we got to the airport, we walked directly to where the plane was loading, and we just got on the plane, handed our bag to someone, and they put it underneath the plane. Today, you have to go through multiple lines of security, and you need to roll the bag because it's too heavy. It hurts your back. It's too difficult to do. So people created rollers for suitcases. Now you have rollers for everything, including computer bags. The failure rate of startups on a global basis is 42%, but in Vietnam, it's 92%. And why is it so high? Because nobody's taking classes like this to go and help them know what's in front of them. And they're learning by making mistakes. And some of those mistakes can be catastrophic and businesses can close quickly. In Ocean Park, I have seen some locations in 1 year have three different businesses in them. That the businesses last 3 months, there's not enough customers coming in. And you can see when you walk by that nobody is walking into that business, or there's just too many of them, or too many of the same in the same location. In my own building in Ocean Park, there are three mini marts all within about 20 feet of each other, all within 5-10 second walk of each other. Way too many mini marts for them all to go and survive. So we're going to talk about how are you going to build something that's built to last. Sources of inspiration for new ideas. How do you go and find ideas that you could go and start? Let's say you don't have an idea of your own, because I've met many students who have their own ideas, like they want to start a baking business, a dog grooming, a dog walking business, tutoring business. They want to go and sell. One student who I met, who's one of our students now, sells unique sneakers online, makes a lot of money doing it, makes about 5,000 USD a month selling unique sneakers and doesn't take possession for any of them. He actually knows where to get these sneakers, and he puts pictures on his website. And when people order them, they can go and get them. But your inspiration can be your hobbies. It can be what you see in daily life. It could be local issues that you see need to be solved. It can be global challenges like climate change and access to education and healthcare. You can find things by just traveling and seeing ideas that work in one place and think you can bring it to another. One of my favorite places to go is Misway, where I buy bubble tea. I'm there like 2-3 times a week. I could go every day, but I go 2-3 times a week. That started in 1997 in China with just two brothers in a stand serving these sweet drinks that you could buy for next to nothing. Today, 25 years later, almost 30 years later, they have 46,000 locations. They've taken their company public in March, and they're now both billionaires. So you can start with something as cheap as putting sweetener in a water and grow into a multi-billion-dollar business. You don't have to have big venture capital money behind you. In fact, most of the great companies have been started without big venture capital. Observing everyday life, identify pain points that people have. Certainly, one of the pain points, as we mentioned, is finding somebody to walk your dogs. Another pain point is having a walker for your grandparents to use that allow them to easily get around, and a walker that doubles as a chair so they can sit and watch you play football or badminton, or now the most popular sport in Vietnam, or the fastest growing, pickleball. And you question everything. You ask yourself, what could be easier or better from what I'm seeing? What can I do? So, obvious observing difficulty in finding clean water in rural areas inspired an entrepreneur, Pham Zan Tan, who developed a low-cost filtration system. That's somebody here in Vietnam that just observed a problem that was happening daily. Identifying local issues. Listen to complaints that people complain about. Common areas are transportation, waste, management, safety. So VitCycle started as a solution to Vietnam's plastic waste problem because you see a lot of trash all over, but it's getting less and less in Vietnam because people have come up with innovative solutions to go and do this. There's a I'm teaching a class, I taught a class of MBA students from the Netherlands last week, and they were talking about bringing over an idea in the Netherlands where trash goes into an underground receptacle. So you set up these trash cans all over, and it goes into an underground receptacle, and it gets crushed into very small bags, and then they pick it up at the end of the week. And so there's no overflowing trash. I thought, man, that's a great idea. And so you can see ideas that work in other countries and bring them here. Uh, there are 7-Eleven is looking to come to Vietnam. There's one group that owns the rights to 7-Eleven, and they see how successful 7-Eleven has been in places like the Philippines, where there are over 12,000 locations for 7-Eleven, and 7-Eleven has over 150,000 locations worldwide and growing. People know 7-Eleven, they know what you can get there, and it will compete with our own brands here like Winmart and Circle K. But there will be a lot of people who will want to go to 7-Eleven and buy their things from. Tackling global challenges, addressing worldwide problems like renewable energy or education inequality. Many of my students talk about how do we create opportunity in education for people in rural areas. There's plenty of good private schools in Hanoi and Vietnam and Da Nang and some of the other major cities, but in rural areas, they have a couple problems. One is education is hard to come by, or quality education. Two is the internet is very sporadic in these rural areas. And today, we live off the internet. We get educated off the internet. We do our work off of it. We use our tools from the internet. So having that capability is really important. And renewable energy is going to become more and more important because of the growth of AI. The amount of servers needed to support AI is enormous. How do we make them more efficient so it doesn't use up the world's water supply, and that we have enough electricity to use for our homes? One of the things I'm hoping you all will come out with is new products and services that will create jobs when AI has been eliminating jobs. Our hackathon for our university in December is going to focus on how do we create jobs in the AI era. Where to find third-party facts to support your ideas? You can go online and research using trusted websites, databases, research papers. You can go to a platform called ceoexpress.com. That's ceoexpress.com. And that is an excellent platform to go and use because you can get all kinds of information from that platform. The second, another place you can go is newspaper articles that you can go to and see. So you can go and actually go on chat and say articles by the Harvard Business Review on these subjects, and it will give you the link to those articles. Industry reports like market trends and industry insights. There are all kinds of organizations, especially people who are following public companies that have industry reports, or consulting companies like McKinsey and Company and Boston Consulting Group and Bain and Company and the big accounting firms do market trends and industry insights. So it's another way for you to get good information. Community interviews, interview people who are affected by the problem and ask them, what problems are you having? What do you think would be a good solution for those problems? How can we be helpful to you? So there are many places that you can get third-party facts to support whatever your idea is. So let me stop right there and see if anybody has any questions. And if you do, I'd like you to type your question into chat and I will read the question to everyone. And then you can tell me, and then I can provide the answer. And if it's not clear, then you can tell me it's not clear and I will continue to try to answer your question. So, does anyone have any questions so far about how to come up with a problem, how to identify opportunities, where to get information to support whether it's a good idea or not so good? Any questions at all? Just type them in the chat. And don't be afraid to type in your questions. There's no such thing as a bad question. And the only way you learn is through asking questions. And when you get to VinUnivesity, one of the things I do is if nobody asks a question, I will pick on people to call because I want you to get practice speaking to large groups of people. What differentiates you from the machine, because now you're competing not against people just globally, but now you're competing against the computer, AI, for answers, is your ability to think in an abstract way and for you to be able to share your thoughts and opinions. So that's very important. Okay, so we have a question here. All right, question is, at the start of class, you said you had a problem with selling an application for banks. My question is, how do you collect information of their willingness to purchase? Do you ask shareholders? If so, how do you manage and reach them? All right, so here was the mistake I made. I was working with five companies, helping them get loans, and I helped five companies get loans of $250,000 to $12 million. I noticed that the process was very cumbersome, that with loan officers, they send you a PDF form, you fill out the information, and after you fill out the information, you send it back to them, and then they tell you if they're interested in getting more information from you to determine if they want to give you a loan. And what they do every day is they send you an email saying, could you send me this? Can you send me this? And it takes 4 to 8 weeks to get all the information. I wondered, why isn't there a common electronic application going online to the bank, filling it all out at once, so you don't have to be stopping and starting every day and it takes so long? And when you're applying for a loan, you don't want the process to take 4 to 8 weeks. You want the process to take a day, no more than a week. You want it to be quick. So I asked the loan officers, and they all thought, wow, that'd be a great idea. And I worked with them. What I should have done was ask the check writer, that is the chief lending officer or the CEO of the bank, if in fact they'd be willing to go and spend money with someone who would be providing them with a common application, and instead of taking 4 to 8 weeks to collect the information, collected in one business day. If they'd be willing to be beta testers with the intent to buy if it worked, then I should have proceeded. But no, I proceeded and spent a year building this product, only to find out that after I've done it for a year and the loan officers introduced me to their check writers in the bank, because there's check writers, users, and influencers, the check writer said we weren't interested. If I would have just created a PowerPoint in the beginning and said, let me tell you about an idea that I'm looking to build, would you like to be one of our early users of this? Then I could have found out that they were interested or not. But no, I went and built it. So the thing you need to do is talk to people and say to them, I only want to make this product or service if you want to purchase it. I don't want you to tell me it's a great idea, and then when I come back to you, tell me, oh, no, sorry, I'm not interested. Because I've gone through that, not at least once, a few times. And it took me a while. I'm going to be 65 in February. It took me, about 62 years to learn this. So it was a big mistake on my part to do it. So you need to go and call on the people who would actually spend the money to use your product or service. And you can do that by writing to them directly. You can ask friends and family for introductions. You can join LinkedIn and write to them and tell them that you have this idea and you would like to talk to them to see if it would be helpful to them. So there's a variety of ways that you can do that. And if you're in this program and you have an idea and I can help get you to the right person to talk to see if they'd be interested, that's what we're there for. That's what we want to see happen. If I didn't answer your question, rephrase it and ask me again. How do you know which is the best opportunity? In reality, we have many opportunities to choose from. Well, that's the purpose of this class, is to teach you how to evaluate opportunities. So you'll do market research and you'll find out, is this a growing opportunity? Are more people going to need this product or service, whatever that is, whether it's dog walking or mobile phone, mobile game, mobile educational game, whatever it is. You can then do an online survey using social media and find out if people are interested. And you can ask them, if you're truly interested and you would buy this, please send me your email address or fill this out so I have your email so I can contact you. But in the beginning, and I look at many ideas, I do financial forecasts to see if in fact there's enough revenue there and it can grow enough that I can make good money, or it's so expensive to do that I can never catch up in terms of revenue and it will turn out not to be a profitable venture for me. So we're going to teach you how to create financial models. So after you've done the research and you put together your model, you'll be able to see if the idea makes sense or not to pursue. And also you should pursue things that you're passionate about, that you'll stick with. Because if you just do it to make money, you might lose interest. But if you're really interested in what you're doing, there's a woman named Yasmin Mustafa, and she started a company called Roar for Good in the United States. And she's originally from Kuwait. And she created a button for women to press that would tell people that they're in trouble, would send a message to all her friends' phones, say, here's my location, I'm in trouble, I need help. And in the beginning, I thought it was a great idea. 37,000 fathers like me bought this pin for our daughters. And the daughters said it was so ugly they would never wear it. So then she had to pivot, meaning that she had to go and see who else could use these buttons. And she thought about maids who often are attacked by male customers in hotels. And she changed it to that, but the pandemic hit and that wiped out that business. And she changed it to anybody who would be at risk: police, fire, psychologists, teachers. And now she has a thriving business. She has over 50 employees. She raised $15 million. She stayed with it because she was passionate about protecting women. So your best opportunities are things that you're excited about. There is the person I mentioned about selling sneakers. He loves sneakers, and especially unique sneakers. Another student, she rents out used ball gowns because she loves ball gowns, and she knows that girls go to multiple balls and they don't want to wear the same one. So she created that. We have a student who's head of our innovation, co-president of our innovation club, and she started a cleaning business, a wash business where you take your stuff to be washed. Only at 17, she started this business, and it's very successful, and she's looking to go to multiple locations. And when you talk to her, it's like talking to a full-grown adult. She really understands business. Why? Because she started her own venture. And when you start your own venture, you're learning about all aspects of business. Okay, next question. When choosing which opportunity to pursue, how can we decide between a problem that already has a solution but's not very efficient and a problem that currently has no solution at all? In which case should we choose? That is a very, very good question. And I'll tell you why it's a good question. If you go to solve a problem that nobody has embarked on, nobody has tried to solve, then you have to spend a lot of money educating the market that your product is needed and here's why it's needed. So this happened to me. I created the first insurance product to insure small business bank accounts against cyber theft. And nobody knew that this was a problem. We created a website, we had 150 stories, and yet people did not know because they never met anybody who had their business bank account hacked and their money stolen, and the bank isn't liable for that loss. So here I was solving a problem that nobody knew needed to be solved. And so I was spending all my venture capital money and ran out of money educating the audience. So that's important. But if there is a problem that's out there that already has a handful of people solving it, there's probably room for more. But there probably isn't room for more people to go and create, let's say, an let's say accounting software. There's plenty of people that have created accounting software packages, and the need for a new one would have to be like amazingly better and more efficient. If I was going to go and do another Internet Explorer type product, how many of those do you actually need? How many services do you need, like Dropbox or Google's product to go, like the OneDrive, to go and put things in? So I think that you need to find problems that have been solved, but there's only a handful of players in the space. And if in fact, or if you are doing it and it's different than everybody else's, or it's much more advanced, then you probably can break in. So if you look at Google, Google was like the 17th search engine. Now it's just Google and Bing, and Google's like 95% of the search engine. But in the beginning, there were a lot of very well financed ones, and eventually they dropped off. But Google made theirs different than everybody else. They simplified. A lot of people followed what Yahoo was doing, and it became very complicated to use that because there were so many ads and so many links on the homepage. But Google said, hey, why don't we just make it simple? Let people just go into that box and type in what they're looking for, and up comes the search. And their search engine was better. So I think it all depends. But if you can go and improve on solving a problem that doesn't have a lot of players in the space, where people already know what they're buying, where the growth is still has tremendous potential, I would prefer that opportunity over trying to launch something that no one's ever heard of before or don't even know that they need, even though it solves a problem, because more than likely you will have created the market but run out of money, and other people will come in and take it over. So that's what happened with Facebook's case. There was Friendster and MySpace before Facebook, and then Facebook eventually overcame both of them, and essentially neither they're just on life support. Both of them still exist, but they're nothing. And Facebook clearly dominates, right? Like literally half the world has a Facebook page, half of the world. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, let's see the next question. Could you repeat the name of the website you mentioned, the online search part? Yes, I'm going to type it in, ceoexpress.com. There you go. Anybody else with any other questions before I go back into my presentation? Awesome. Okay. All right. There are tools for finding data. You can go to the World Bank and find data to back up whatever you're investigating. You can go to Statista. That's another place to get information. There are local government portals. They can go to the Vietnam government. All the different ministries provide statistical information. You can go to chambers of commerce, like the American Chamber of Commerce or the Vietnamese Chamber of Commerce. And chambers of commerce have researchers that work there, so you can get information from them. The BBC, the television network in England, Reuters, local news websites. Uh, Vietnam's General Statistics Office provides lots of demographic data. So there's lots of places. And again, you can always start with chat and say to chat, where can I get the following information? Where can I get the following statistics? And it will send you there. Example of a problem identification. Long wait lines in hospital emergency rooms. It typically takes 30 to 45 minutes. An opportunity would be to develop an app for virtual triage and waiting time tracking. So that way you know, hey, I broke my arm. Which of the emergency rooms should I go to that has the shortest wait? And even booking on, if you could go and book with the emergency room, that way you could already go and do that. What do they find now for almost all doctors? I go to VinMec. You schedule your appointments online, and they even send you reminders online about your appointments. And what's else has been a solved problem? Telemedicine. So that way you don't have to go in and see the doctor. You can go online and they can take a look at you. Or there are even tools that you can download on your phone that will allow them to check your temperature, your heart rate, your blood sugar level. And you don't even have to go to see the doctor in person and wait there in the hospital until they're ready. They'll come on at the time that you need them. Like every American, goes to a psychologist. And now most of the psychologists don't meet you in person, they do it online. And so that's become very, very efficient. Activity group brainstorming. One of the best and most fun things is to brainstorm with your friends and colleagues about ideas. I have a colleague of mine who works in the engineering school, and we're talking about creating an AI company. And we started brainstorming what AI businesses could we start that we have expertise in that would be needed by other people. And so brainstorming is a good way to come up with good stuff. What's fun is you can go to your local tea place like my tea, sit in those little chairs and start sharing ideas and then deciding as a group, what do we want to pursue? What would be something that could be helpful to the community? What could be something that would be helpful to my school, to helpful to my parents' business? What would create jobs in this scary era of AI where it's reducing the amount of need for a variety of different jobs? How do we identify problems that not just exist in Vietnam, but are scalable and can go around the world? Because we want Vietnamese companies to create products and services that can scale around the world. Why do Israel and Singapore, why are they successful? Because they're such small countries that in order to grow, they had to force themselves to build global ideas. We want us to do the same. Good size group to share ideas, 2 to 3 people. Again, you guys love being able to go to coffee shops and sit around and talk about things. Just go to a place where it's relaxing or take a long walk. Go to the old quarter and observe people, and you'll observe things that will encourage you to think about ideas. And you can also go online and just type in, I need 5 ideas for new products that the elderly want. Because I notice my grandparents are very lonely. Like you might have a grandparent that's living with you and they don't have a lot of friends. How could I create friends for my grandparent so that they have people their age to talk to? And it will pump out a variety of ideas that you can now investigate and go on social media and ask all your friends. If you have a grandparent that's living by themselves or they're just living with you, ask your grandparent if they would be willing to go online or use an online service that connects them with other elderly people to develop relationships with. Tips for brainstorming: you got to be open minded. You can never say to people, this is a bad idea. What a stupid idea this is. You have to be open to everything. And it's not the first idea that takes off, it's building on that idea and the ideas evolve. This class that you are taking now originally was going to be 12 weeks. And I said to myself, I should talk to high school students and tell them how I'm designing this class and get their feedback. So I met with 3 students at 4Ps. I took them out to lunch and they said, Professor, 12 classes, 12 weeks, way too long. That needs to be half of that time. Give us a class that could be 6 1-hour classes for 6 weeks with the right information, not for us to try to start a new business. So I did. I recreated it, and that turned out to be a big hit. And in fact, it even changed the way I look at how to start a new venture. So I didn't say because they were high school kids, they didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't say because I've been teaching this for almost a quarter of a century that I know and they don't. I kept my mind open to their ideas. Some of the best ideas I've ever heard come from people that you never would have guessed could have come up with those ideas. I created an indoor business incubator in a retail mall, and the idea came from a maintenance guy about how to set it up. And I started a service to market products and services to vendors who are selling to us to get them to give us leads. And that came from my secretary saying what her grandfather did in the mailroom of another business. So you keep your eyes open. Validating the problem. You want to research and find supporting data that this is needed. So we know there's a need to teach people how to use AI because it's the biggest thing going. And now there are all kinds of classes cropping up about, as they call it, hacking AI. So we learn by going to these different classes, we research ideas, we talk to people. But once we hear about an idea, like if we were starting telemedicine or telepsychology, because psychology is going to be a big thing here. A lot of you are under a lot of stress. You don't feel like you can talk to your parents. You don't want to necessarily talk to your friends. And so a psychologist is very helpful. In America, 40 years ago, people used to frown and think there was something wrong with you if you went to a psychologist. Today, in 2025, everybody has a psychologist, like they have a dentist, like they have a general practitioner, like they have a chiropractor. Everybody has one, and they go to them, if not on a weekly basis, monthly, quarterly, once a year, but they go to them. Interview people, talk to people who have experience with a problem. Find out, is this something that's worth solving? If they say it's a problem that they would pay to go and have solved. Find out how complicated it is. The easier the problem, the better it would be. Observation, see the problem firsthand, experience the problem, so you know what you're talking about. So you can go and ask people in the field the right questions, or you can go and ask developers. But this is not a problem, but this is a business idea of mine. I had an English bulldog named Roxy. She was the most beautiful girl. And so I was taking pictures of her all the time, but how many pictures can you take of her sleeping or sitting up? What I thought would be really cool is if I could go and take pictures of her wearing different clothes. And what if you could actually buy those clothes for your dog? So I had this idea and I went to pursue it. This is maybe 7, 8 years ago. And I couldn't find a developer who could guarantee me that if you took a picture of a dog, that the hat you put on it would look like it fit. There was technology evolving, and I think now this could actually be done. But at the time, I surveyed 100 dog owners, and 72% said that they would love to go on a site that they could put their dogs in different costumes and hats and sweaters and take pictures of them, but they would like to buy new clothes for their dogs and dress them up. People, especially in the US, spend a fortune on their dogs. And I see here in Vietnam that dogs are a big part of the culture and the people love their dogs. So again, researching, interviewing, and observing. Practice finding facts. Select a problem and pick a problem and brainstorm it. Then go online or interview peers to find supporting data. And when you go online, you can ask chat or any of them, Kronk, whatever you're using, how many people have this particular problem? Or how many people, has any survey done, has there ever been a survey done on this particular problem? Or you can go online and go to something like SurveyMonkey, and you can pay to have a survey done. So I was starting something called Consulting University USA to teach people how to be consultants. And I was trying to sell this idea to universities. So I did a national survey and turned out that 63% of people wanted to start a part or full-time consulting practice, but didn't know where to go and get an education about how to start it. So I did that, and I'm still trying to pursue having a university do that with me, but I was able to prove to one university that they thought was a great idea based on my market research. Then you present your findings to your partners, and you need to be able to describe your idea in 60 seconds or less. Why such little time? Because you want to be able to efficiently describe it. And as I say, if I can't explain to my mom, if I can't explain my problem to my mom that I'm solving in a way that she can tell what I'm doing to her mahjong group, because my mom plays mahjong every week. If she can't explain my idea to her mahjong group where they all understand it, then I have to keep refining it. Or if I can't keep refining it, then it's probably not an idea worth solving because it's too complicated. Here's examples of validating a problem. Lack of clean water in schools. Research is over 20% of schools lack safe water, according to UNICEF Vietnam. Interviewing students say they bring bottled water from home. So that tells you there's an opportunity there. Characteristics of good problems to solve: relevance, affects many people, feasibility, can be addressed with existing resources, impact, improves lives or efficiency. Example, Vietnam's transportation congestion led to grab bike success. And so, of course, now they're going to be banning soon motorcycles from coming into Hanoi because they want to reduce pollution, which means that you're going to have to take bicycles in or catch public transportation. So there's going to be new solution to this. The mayor of Bogota, Colombia, 20 years ago, the congestion was so bad that people said we need to widen the roads. He said, no, we're going to shrink the roads and make everybody walk or ride public transportation or drive a bicycle. What happened? Bogota went from being one of the most polluted cities in the world to one of the least polluted. People lost an average of 27% of their weight and became healthier because of this. So let me recap steps to identifying opportunities: observe and brainstorm, do some research, get facts. You always have to have third-party facts. It can't be guessing on your part. You need to go and show people like your parents or anybody that you want to invest in your idea or people who you want to sell your idea to. You have to show them third-party facts to validate your idea. Validate that problem through data and interviews, and prioritize based on relevance and impact. So what we want to do is have you start observing problems that you see. Just walk around your neighborhood. Talk to your friends. Talk to your parents. Talk to your grandparents. Talk to the school principal. Take one step, research, brainstorm, and see what happens. The best way to predict the future is to create it. So let me leave you with this. I want you to start thinking about what the problem is or an opportunity, and I want you to start working on a plan to go after this. And then I want to hear what those plans are, because my last class, 20% of the students started their own new venture. I would love for you to be able to do that as well. So let me stop here. And if there's any questions, I'm glad to answer them as our hour is almost up. Any questions at all? Please feel free to ask any question. There's no such thing as a bad question. None? Okay. I will look forward to seeing you next Sunday. And again, you can share that flyer I sent you because we want to help as many high school students start their own ventures. We want to encourage everybody to take a shot at it so they can learn about business, whether they start a full-time, part-time business, or it can help you learn what you want to major in college, or that it will improve your chances of getting a job because you'll be able to ask great questions and you'll add more value to your employer. Okay. If everybody is good for the day, I so thank you for coming out, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Have a great day, everybody.